not driving the big black dick mobile? Okay.
I like the big black dick.
I guess, okay. I guess you don't have a big enough dick to drive my truck then, Mark. Fine. Okay, let's see if this is gonna work or no. I don't know either. Tried it. I was like gonna drive that to the band concert, and then I'm like, hell no. I'm not gonna try to park that big ass hunk of metal anywhere. All right, let's see. iPhone 6s Wi-Fi, hot as hell. Let's see. You need a website, kind of. I think it would be hilarious if we made a Wix website after all that. That would be a hoot. Okay. All right. So we are gonna, let's make that working. Create your stunning website today. All right. There's Michael Oberdick and Paul Daniels. Okay, we are gonna work on this iPhone 6s, which apparently is getting hot as hell. Let's see if it really is. Let's see what the deal is. It would be cool if there was some kind of like a little Alexa that you could be like, Alexa, read the chat comments. Like Mark could be Alexa.
No, I'm good.
You're good? All right,
Yep.
fine.
No, I'm good.
This board is also missing a antenna. Great. Okay, let's see if this board is actually getting hot as hell. Let's see if it is getting hot as hell. All right, so I'm going to prompt this thing to boot. What do you think about LCD refurbishing? I think LCD refurbishing was a wonderful thing to do back when screens cost a huge amount of money. God damn it, the battery fell out. But nowadays, most people that got into that business, it's tough now because there is, I'm gonna have to hold this battery on here because there's so many sort of affordable options. It used to be that the copy screens were really crappy screens and no one would use them. They would fall apart. They had poor adhesive. They were clearly low quality. They would have, red in the center and yellow on the outside. But and so refurbishing the original LCD was in the customer's best interest, and it made a lot of sense. So there was a time where everybody was into LCD refurbishing, and a few people domestically figured it out. China's always been good at it. And I'm gonna need this guy's passcode. And that made a lot of sense for a while there, but then the quality of the other new screens choices that you could get out of China, the other like the LG LCD or the Tianma LCD, those went up in quality, so that now the end user really couldn't care less whether or not they're getting a bona fide original, a refurbished original, or one of these high quality screens that are copy screens. So now you'd have to get your LCD refurbishing business would have to be affordable enough to compete with those pretty inexpensive. So there we go, temperature warning, and it is hot as hell. Hot as hell. It's hot in the Wi-Fi chip. So now it's kind of a tough business. There's a lot of people that do it. There's people that do it at the local level, which maybe still makes sense. All right, so now we've got this guy's phone, and it's hot, and it is showing us temperature warning every now and then. So Mark has put his ball sack on here, and he is pretty sure that it's the Wi-Fi chip. So the Wi-Fi chip is what's getting hot here. So we are going to see what happens if we can resolve this by at least taking off the Wi-Fi chip. Now the Wi-Fi chip in the 6S, this is not a repair that I do very much, because you can't just swap in another one as far as I know. And I could be wrong on that. So we're gonna, I think the Wi-Fi chip in the 6S has information that is matched to the device. So you can't just swap it out. So we're gonna see what happens if we take it off. Does that solve the problem? And then maybe we'll give a shot at reballing it and putting it back on if it looks like the problem is the joints under the Wi-Fi chip rather than internal to the Wi-Fi chip itself. All right, so let's see. I want to learn repairing phones, please. Please do. Welcome. Everyone wants to learn how to repair phones. All right. Let's see what else you guys are saying before we hop into this repair. Let's see. Good morning, everybody. Mark is still there. Not really. It's 10:30, so he is free to leave, and I think he is driving my minivan instead of the big black truck right now, so that he can go make his dinner salad. All right. iPhone 5S, blah, 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 blah. So that tech vid sounds like an iPhone question, which you should post on a forum so that we don't get bogged down in chat with discussion of multiple devices. So if you want to talk about 6S and Wi-Fi, have at it. But other phone questions need to go to a forum. It went down a lot, had to start selling on eBay to the people that want the OEM one. Yeah, it does, exactly. All right. Sent you info on iPhone suddenly having the home button stop working. Have you heard any more of these happening? We have heard of a few phones that have had iPhone 7 that have Touch ID fingerprint sensor still working, but home button not working. So we're definitely interested in seeing some of those. So we are quoting those. We're taking those jobs to see if it's something just like Turtle IC needs to be reballed, like Wyman was posting a video about from China. So we're excited to see if that is going to be a thing or whether or not it's software. Who knows? We haven't had a chance to look at any of those yet. All right. It's almost kind of hard to see the differences, and some of the good copies are usually the whites are darker in bootleg screens. Okay. This guy really wants to learn repairing phones. All right. Take it to Apple. I had someone send me a message yesterday about 7 home buttons. Says he's seen a chip swap of some sort work. That what he's talking about is the Turtle chip, the Turtle IC chip, which is on the Flex. It's not unique to the device. So the Turtle chip is the one that appears to be the translator between your fingerprint capacitive pressure and digital information that would go to the logic board. So that Turtle IC does that job of interpreting fingerprint pressure and turning that into, he pushed the home button. So that chip is not unique, it's not coded, it does not have an identifier, so that can be changed out. And that Turtle chip, which Chinese video guys call it U10, I like to get away from calling things U whatever because that defines them like U2 based on board position, and that may change with different models, whereas the actual chip doesn't change. So we'll call it Turtle IC chip since that's what it's referred to as in the schematic. Turtle IC can be changed, and if your exact fault is that your iPhone 7 has fingerprint sensor working, but home button doesn't work, so that's a very specific fault, then it may be because of a separation in the balls that marry together the BGA chip Turtle IC with the Flex. I mean, that's kind of tough to set a BGA chip on a Flex. It is coated with some epoxy or hot glue or something like that and have it work long term. So it may be that the action of a screen change where you're fiddling with and manipulating that button may cause you to lose contact under the Turtle IC. So we will definitely be open to looking at some of those, but that doesn't have anything to do with fingerprint sensor or cracking the fact that these fingerprint sensors are uniquely coded to each device, just like CPU and NAND. That's completely unrelated. All right, 2 iPhone 7 I came across would not work at all, Touch ID or home button. So that home button not working at all seems to, I haven't seen that in the absence of a Flex tear or a bad screen, but I haven't looked at very many of those either. All right, so Apple said needed to hook up to their calibration machine, which is true. Yes, I mean that's the thing. It's inexpensive to take an iPhone 7 with a home button problem to Apple and say, give me a new screen. It's $129. So there's not a whole lot of motivation there in the independent repair community to it's pretty clear that there's really unlikely going to be a way for people that are not Apple to talk to the logic board at a level that says, hey, we want you to accept this fingerprint sensor. That's never happened in any of the other devices, and it's unlikely to happen now. All right, let's see. If I come across another one of these, I'll send it to you. Great. Sure, we would be happy to look for that. All right. Team Eye Doctor, thanks for the class last week. Best training ever. All right. I don't know who you are, Team Eye Doctor. You have to tell me your name, and then I'll know. All right. In the meantime, let's look under the microscope. So we are going to look under the microscope here and see if we can see anything up. All right, so it looks like there's a dude that's removed here. And let's look for signs of heat. So we're going to look closely for signs of heat around this Wi-Fi chip. And I don't really see signs of heat anywhere. But this chip is getting hot. And I had another one like it earlier, so I think that Wi-Fi getting hot is likely going to be due to some problem under the Wi-Fi chip. So I think that is enough for me to say, let's go ahead and take it off and see what happens. So let's get out. We're going to use my favorite board holder. This is the one we sell at Mendon iPad Rehab Supply. These are really great for this kind of job where you have to first fillet away the underfill that secures the Wi-Fi chip to the board so that you can actually remove it. So we're going to snap it down here in the handy dandy little board holder and get busy with low heat. And we are going to crank this down to something in the 200-ish range and try to knock off that layer of underfill. Let's see. That's as good as we can get there on the view. All right, let's try to adjust this camera to match what we're seeing. So for me, this is right in the middle, and for you, it's not. Let's marry that over a little bit. Okay, that's a little bit better. All right. Okay. Someone tell me what I'm doing up right now. I have Regents in about 10 hours. Is Regents like a high school exam? Then you should get a good night's sleep, because 6S Wi-Fi is relatively boring compared to doing well on a test that's going to affect the rest of your life. So take a melatonin and hit the hay. Yeah, it's hard to do, I know. Gotta do it. Gotta do it. I do kind of think it's it's a superpower of people that really are disciplined about sleep. I mean, sleep is just so good for you, and it is amazing, like how many problems you can solve just by getting sleep. I don't know how many times I've worked on something for a long time, made little progress, and then you just go to sleep, wake up in the morning, and you know exactly what's wrong. Or you're struggling with something late at night, come in the morning, oh yeah, look at that, that doesn't go there, and fixed. I wonder for all of us, like what's our lost potential that comes from never getting a good amount of sleep? Alright, let's try to dig this shit out. If any of you hey bro people are on the fence about this training, get off your ass and just do it. Well, that is an awesome recommendation. Course week is always fun, and it is always a fun time. Every group is fun. We had to do back-to-back course weeks this month just because we were booked out so far. So for those of you guys that were at the course last week, today was day 1, so you will remember my little same question I asked. And I also got, again this week, no volunteers to put a piece of Captain Tape on their finger, and let me blast it with hot air. Nobody took me up on that again. I have yet to have a taker that wants to believe in the power of Captain Tape for heat protection so much that they are willing to put a piece of it on their finger and let me shine 380 degrees Celsius at it. Nobody wants to take that. Alright, let's see. We're gonna get this. Get this opened up. Every time I have to pick underfill, I just feel like singing one of these sort of songs about having to. Mark's taking the truck? Why? Oh, so he's going to drive the truck rather than the minivan. But he would have driven the car instead of the truck. So he didn't want to drive a vagina on wheels. So he decided that he would go for the big black truck. Well, good to know, Mark. That is ridiculous. What's wrong? I think the minivan is the greatest car ever. I love that my 12-year-old son, who is only a few short years away from driving. Well, what kind of car do you think you're gonna get, buddy? Oh, minivan for sure. Sweet. The minivan's great. Thinking about you can carry all that stuff. You can live out of it for a week if you had to. Pick underfill. Pick an underfill like a boss. Alright, we're pretty good on that section, so let's head up here. iPad rehab. Did you get a new truck? I did get a new truck. I was the saddest person ever getting a new truck. I didn't want to get a new truck, but I do not, my days of fixing cars and trucks are at least postponed. I fix enough things. I spend all day fixing things that I need things like vehicles that have to get me from A to B. Those guys I need to just work. So I went with the, how about we have a warranty, and that if this thing doesn't work, it is not my problem. It is somebody else's problem. Okay, this is a tough spot to get to right here without fucking a whole lot of shit up. That's the best we can do there, I think. Alright, let's hit this other side. Hi, I can't stand minivans. I don't know why. Doesn't make any sense to me. Don't know what you're missing. I think that girls would be impressed with a guy that has the cojones at a young age to drive a minivan. They'll think, this guy's got some balls. This guy's got bigger balls than Mark Schaefer, I'll tell you that. Who just couldn't stand driving the minivan and had to bail and drive the giant truck. The truck is tough because it is way high up there. There's no, I got the base model. No backup assist or fancy things that they put in cars for women so that you don't, run into things. Car makers know what's what. Trucks don't get to have backup assist mirrors. They think that's kind of like pussifying a truck if you have to have backup assist. We had the a unfortunate classic woman come in the other day with Mark took this. I wasn't really paying attention to it, but it's a woman. I saw him talking to her up front, and he's explaining to her about her iPhone 6 or 6S charging problem, And I hear him explaining all about TriStar and batteries and things like that. And then I hear him explain about how this could be the charge port or the battery. So he takes a charge port and he overlays the charge port on her phone, which is still in the housing. So he overlays a good charge port. And he plugs in the charger and he shows her on the USB meter, you know, look, it's charging now, and conveys to her so that she can understand that now the phone is charging, and so therefore the problem with her phone is that it has a bad charge port. And so he offers that he could either just charge up a battery for her so that, you know, if she's going to go trade this in or just get a backup and is getting a new phone, or he can just install this charge port into her phone, and that'll be $50 or whatever it is, and then she can go on about her way and her phone will work again. And so he explains that to her, I think, pretty clearly, and really kind of goes the extra mile with the whole USB ammeter and showing her, here it's 0, now it's working. And then she says, unfortunately, that she's got to go ask her man. So she's like, well, I'm gonna have to go talk this over with my husband and find out, you know, we'll, like, basically, I gotta let a man decide for me. I can't decide for myself what to do. This sounds too technical. I can't possibly understand. I have 2 X chromosomes. So she leaves, and she takes her phone and she leaves. So we get a call today, this is a week later, that she wants to know if she can come pick up her phone, which is in her possession. So we're like, you didn't leave your phone here. You needed to go ask your husband. You never came back, so we don't have your phone. And she's like, no. The really nice guy with the beard, he helped me, and he was going to charge up my charge port for me. What? And it took like 20 minutes for Jean, who was on the phone, to like figure out what she was talking about. And it became clear to Jean that this woman believed that the charge port, you know, the charge port that Mark had overlaid on the device, which had the charger attached to it, that Mark was going to charge this up for her, and that she could come in and pick this up, and then her phone would work again. Oh my God! It is. See, that stuff I think is just depressing. That's what gives women a bad name. Oh my God! All right. Rear view. In Ohio, guys put the ball sack ornament. Oh my God! I need some truck nuts. I need some truck nuts for that. A rear view bumper cam to their front bumper. See, I thought it was funny back when I had the first giant truck. And I can remember this like one moment in time. We're gonna go ahead and take this IC off now. I remember this one moment in time where I was using the truck. It was filled full of baby gear, and one of the things that I had riding next to me on the front seat was a breast pump, because I was going to a multiples club yard sale where you sell off all your baby shit. And I just thought it was just this kind of like hilarious moment in time where I am driving down the road in this big ass truck with a breast pump to deliver a breast pump to a yard sale that is filled with baby stuff, with strollers and all kinds of shit like that. I bet I was the only person, or the only woman that day on that road driving a big ass turbo diesel with a breast pump right next to me. All right, let's get this off. All right, so we are gonna go back up to kind of our regular soldering temperatures, and we are gonna get this off actually with this tool. So I really like this thing. This is an IC remover tool, and I think we have these on iPad Rehab Supply. If not, we will soon, but I really like this. At first I thought, this thing's just too flimsy. It's not gonna actually do anything, but it really is the perfect tool to get underfilled ICs off the board. So let's see if we can get that focused for you guys. All right, so let's get some heat on here. We're gonna heat this up. We're trying to heat it up to soldering temperatures to melt all the solder under here. see if we can get this chip off. Alright, so let's see if we can show you how we're going to get under a corner of it. Feel it just slides in there really perfectly in a way that is very non-invasive. And we can just lift the chip off. Isn't that cool? Ta-da! Alright, let's see how we did. Let's see how we did on the pulled pads front. Alright, so we can see under here that we did pretty good. And there's a couple little balls. So we're looking to see, is there evidence that the underlying fault here was a bridged pad under here, and it may be just because we see a lot of these solder balls. Some of those could have come from, you know, just now, but some of them may have been the underlying fault. Alrighty, so let's get this cleaned up a little bit, and then we're going to test to see if we still get that overheating warning. And if not, then we'll consider this phone at least kind of return to somewhat usable function. At least they'll be able to get their data off. And then we might go for it and see what happens if we reball the chip and see if the reballed chip will go back on and cause the problem. All right, so I'm just going to go over this with the iron and see. All right. Alrighty. Alright, so you guys are talking about truck nuts. It boggles my mind when I see them, which is usually several times a week. Yeah, those things, I can remember the first time I saw truck nuts, and I remember thinking, hey kids, let's avert our eyes in the parking lot. They, you know, like when you're walking with like a 6-year-old boy, you know, he can kind of, that looks, what is that? He knows something's up with that. He knows something's a little weird, but he doesn't quite know what it is. So that was a kind of like, I'm not sure that's really appropriate for the preschool parking lot. But now I think it's hilarious. All right, so let's go ahead while this is still a little bit warm. We are gonna go ahead and take off the remnants of the underfill, which is back to underfill picking. So we're gonna drop this down to low temperature again and get busy just picking underfill. All right, phones have batteries? Thing one of Chris Long's customers did not realize. Well, I don't know if the phones have batteries beats the, yeah, you were gonna charge up my charge port for me. It's probably pretty close. Maybe these guys were related, I don't know. Alright, so we're gonna just start picking. Now, whether or not you actually need to remove all of this is kind of probably you could make an argument that you don't. But I like to take it off just to kind of not have any variables. If this is still here, it's kind of like a speed bump when the chip has to sit back down. It is going to potentially interfere with the chip's ability to find its own spot, to find its own way. So it only takes a few minutes to just pick it off, and then you don't have that variable. And you'll know that if you get your chip on there and you kind of nudge it and it really jiggles into place, that it's in the right spot. So we'll just go picking. Plus, this is one of these things I could totally see being in the oddly satisfying thing. This is a zen-like thing to do at the end of the day, to gently just pick underfill. You know what this is like? This is like if you ever, I doubt very much of this audience has this experience, but women know what it's like to stare down at your tile floor and the grout between the tiles is dirty. And there's really nothing you can do. And you can mop your floor, but the grout still stays just kind of dirty, and it's dirtier in some spots than others, and it just kind of drives you a little bit crazy. So you could spend a really relaxing thing for a stay-at-home mom to do would be if all of her kids went to grandma's house and she could just spend an afternoon cleaning the dirt out of the grout, just like this, in between everyone. Just so relaxing, so quiet and zen to just pick the underfoot. Just pick the underfoot. It's like hypnosis. Are you guys, whoever it is that had Regents tomorrow, why don't you just sit here and watch the quiet picking of underfill? The relaxing sound of the hot air station, and of course my fume extractor, which is always on. And just quietly and gently pick away the underfill. It's like Bob Ross. Happy little underfill. Getting freed from this board. And it's going to blow away and find a new life somewhere else. Somewhere far, far away. Alright. Let's turn that around. Alright, let's scroll down. You can place any Wi-Fi chip. It's not tied to the board. Is that true for the 6S? It's true for the 6, I know that, but I don't know that that's true for the 6S. In fact, I've heard the opposite. But I have never tried it, so I can't really speak to that. So we'll see. I know there's a machine out that will kind of change. I think it's that the NAND has a address of the Wi-Fi that has to match. I wouldn't think there would be a machine out to change Wi-Fi addresses if it was something you could just swap, but what do I know? Maybe somebody that has done more 6S Wi-Fi work. This kind of stuff we generally haven't taken. You know, it's just kind of a lot of work for, you know, there's some risk. You know, if the phone doesn't turn back on, that kind of sucks to explain to somebody. When it was working, at least for data recovery earlier. So that's why I thought I would stream it. Just something that I decided to do today. See what happens. Every now and then, you kind of get in a rut with just data recovery, and, you know, frustrating ones that have software issues. Like the last one we did, super frustrating. It had been to another guy who had done a lot of work, which creates a lot of variables. We have to kind of go repeat all that just to be able to diagnose it. And it was a phone that had really an unfortunate set of events where at one time, before it even came to us, it had a VCC main short, which someone had found and relieved. Yay! But then it did not boot, and it drew low current on DC power, which kind of seemed like a generalized brain problem, like a CPU problem. And so then you kind of go around and you have to do all this sort of like less invasive work to address potential problems that could be pulling down data lines. So you go do all that, and then ultimately we lifted the PMIC, and we could see under the PMIC, you know, dirty corrosion that had bridged together VCC main with one of the CPU power lines, which is an ultimate deal breaker. So that stinks, but you know, it's kind of like, at least you know exactly what happened. That when there's a short on VCC main that also happens to be bridged under the PMIC into a CPU power line, then at some point in the life of this phone, after water damage, the full current from a VCC main short went into the CPU, and CPUs can't handle that. So that would be a CPU blowout. So at least you know exactly what happened, but it's definitely not repairable. A lot of work, you know, for a sucky outcome. Nothing you can do. So every now and then, just a kind of relaxing underfill picking job comes along. It's a nice end to a long, long day. All right, let's clean this up and see how we're doing. Let's see how we're doing on that. All right. So how do you handle that conversation? Honestly, it only had to happen once, where I damaged the phone when someone had no idea how to handle it, short of buying them a similar to new to them phone. Well, that is a good question. It depends on what exactly happened. So in this case, if they have a phone that they want to fix for Wi-Fi, then you have to kind of explain that just like you would if you were having a surgery for, you know, let's say you were having a boob job. So you go to have cosmetic surgery, and during the surgery, the surgeon nicks an artery and you bleed out and die on the table. Now you were perfectly functional ahead of that. You just kind of didn't like the size of your breasts. Well, you were fine, you know, so it's tough that now you're dead. So that really stinks. But those things are part of a disclosure where people have to understand this stuff is not, let me unplug something and plug in something else. I'm not changing the batteries on a remote controlled car. This is a surgery. This is microscope and surgical tools. This is like kind of extreme dentistry in some ways. So people have to understand that and accept that risk before you would take a job like that. So on something like this, we would make it clear. In fact, for us, our output is not that Wi-Fi is going to work. Our output is that this phone will boot and that they can get data. Already, because of the temperature warning thing, it doesn't stay on long enough for them to get data. All right, so now let's see if just taking the chip off actually solved that temperature warning problem or not. So let's see. All right. If you can't fix it, or it's worse when you're done. Yes. All right. So let's see. iPad Rehab, is getting advice on female issues permitted? Absolutely. Advice on female issues doesn't sound like a phone problem at all. Unless the female issue is, I just can't be a woman until I can figure out why this phone has a short. But no, female issues is perfectly acceptable. Join the club. We're already talking about breast pumps and Mark's vagina today. All right, let's see. Home stores stock it, but I use rubber gloves and make sure to use an old glass to pour it down the drain. Huh, what are you talking about? TCRS Circuit says there was one troll that kept making accounts over and over again, and I banned him over and over again. Tell us about your troll, TCRS Circuit. Trolls, you have to feed trolls in order, otherwise they just die. Everybody loves a good troll. I like to troll trolls by just acknowledging that their trolliness, like, nice try, troll. You know, if you had said it like this, it might have been a little funnier, you know, or whatever. But don't like try to actually argue with people unless you're doing it just to, you know, kind of have fun with that. All right, let's see. All right, let's get this battery to stay on there, which is kind of a challenge. Not sure this battery is going to be up for the job. All right, get on here. And connect. And function. Oh, look at this example. So this phone is currently not doing anything, but let's try to see whether or not things are actually connected first. Alrighty. I think with the question of, you know, did you make a phone deader? I think that that in order for it to be here, they have to acknowledge that a phone that has no touch, for example, isn't a functional phone. A phone that has no, whatever it is that they're willing to take the risk on surgery, to them, it's not usable. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here, because the risk of microsurgery has to be small enough that their phone is going to just not wake up from the operating table, which happens every now and then, that they have to really consider the phone not usable. I've had rehab. I'm having a really rough cycle. Any suggestions for coping with the headaches and nausea? Are you pregnant? Is there any chance that you could be pregnant? And how old are you? Those are things that we need to know. Have you had any kids? Alrighty, so let's see. So this phone's not doing anything on DC power supply. Let's see if we can wake it up on this guy. Let's see. Otherwise, this will be a really short video. And we can go home. Alrighty. Let's see what it does on DC power supply. So I am prompting it to boot, and it looks like it is booting according to DC power supply, but I don't see anything on image. And I feel like this phone had an image problem to begin with, or that it earlier had an image problem, so our heat at Wi-Fi may have, made the connector on the opposite side come loose or something like that. But this looks like it is booting with no image, so let's see if it's detected by iTunes. And let's see if it's, I hear it detected. Let's see if it's detected in normal mode or not. So we gotta wait for iTunes to wake up. All right. So this is detected in normal mode. So now we have a display issue that we have to troubleshoot before we can see whether or not this thing is still overheating. All right, let's see. He was a troll on Chris Long's channel that kept posting about Israel and slaves and other nonsense. For that kind of stuff, hit spam. You can just hit report spam. And eventually YouTube will figure out that this guy is just posting spam. Or just ignore that stuff. Like, that stuff is not interesting or funny, so just who cares? Let him post whatever he wants. All right, so what would you charge for something like this with positive results? It depends on whether or not this phone, it really depends. It depends on whether or not, what job it was quoted for. So we quote a solution up front. This job actually is just kind of a favor for, for a friend. So this is just kind of a relaxing job that I wouldn't normally take. So I don't really know. Let's see. I have to try for my Wi-Fi. It's gone out. We'll give it a try. Kids cause headaches. Good point. Yes. No kids. Not pregnant, and I'm 35. All right, so this is about nausea and headaches. Nausea is an odd symptom. I would take a pregnancy test. Nausea is an odd period symptom, and I think that I would definitely rule out any chance of pregnancy, because nausea is a very common pregnancy symptom, as are headaches. So I guess my question to you would be, is this a new symptom, or have you kind of always been like this? Have you always been like this for a while? Now, part of the reason why nausea is a pregnancy symptom is of how early pregnancy works, which is kind of the embryo's main job. His only job, his one job, is at all costs prevent menstruation, or else there goes my house, dude. So you can kind of see some overlap there, I guess. All right, let's look at the connector and see if we can figure out why this sucker doesn't have image right now. Could just be that I didn't connect the screen well, but let's just go on a hunt. All right, so let's see. I did learn the hard way on the last stream that I did that whenever you're going to be working on iPhone 6s image problems, that you have to be sure right out of the gate that you don't have the dreaded AP to LCM reset line short. So let's see if that's what's going on with this phone, which would be really odd if it was, but let's check. All right, that little beep scared me for a second. All right, so let's dig that up. Are you ground? No, thank God. Yay. All right, so now let's check around some of the other common image faults and see what's up with this. Oh, this could be just a pretty, this connector doesn't look really that great, but we'll see. All right, so let's go. Do we have image through there? We do. Do we have backlight through here? We do. Do we have a short to ground? We do not. All right, to me that points to bad connection with a connector as the first order of biz. Let's just make sure we don't have a short on our chestnut guy. All right, we don't. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back and just try that with I guess this screen should be good. Let's try plugging in the screen better. How about that? Let's see if that makes a difference. All right, so that screen seems to be plugged in well, I think. All right, can the Wi-Fi chip be replaced, or is it paired in wedlock? I don't know the answer to that. I think for the 6S, and maybe somebody that has done this before does know, can answer. But my impression is that for the 6S that they are paired in wedlock, and for the 6, they're definitely not. You can swap for the 6, but I don't know about the 6S. I kind of think you can't. Oh, I just saw a flicker of image. So that's gonna be some kind of weird ass. Did my screen fucking die? I'll be pissed if my screen just died. Where's my image, yo? All right, let me try a different screen. Let's try a different screen. This screen is marked good, but maybe it was good and now it is bad. All right, let me go see if I can hunt down a different screen. All right. I've been too busy to troll Chris with questions he has already answered. Did the audio level get lower? I don't think so. Sounds to me like you might have the flu. Could be. I don't know what that is. You miss Chris. He hit 1,000 subs today, trolls and all. Well, we're in the middle of class, so we can't watch YouTube during the day, unfortunately. But congratulations to Chris. All right. Let's see. 1,000 is good. What? Lewis said to wick all the pads. Yeah, I heard him say that. Prego sauce, and she doesn't know it. Low in minerals. All right. So, Amy, is this a new symptom, or it's always kind of like this? This is hell right now. Well, you know, you could do the home remedy shit with nausea, like ginger. They make like the candied ginger. I'm gonna grab a screen that you can kind of chew on. There are drugs for nausea, which I would definitely be a fan of taking drugs for nausea. I mean, nausea is really one of the worst things. It really is. And you could always go to the doctor. Go to the doctor. You know, those guys, go see your OBGYN. Those guys know a lot about those kinds of things, and they'll know exactly what is the latest and greatest stuff that you can get. And I mean, I don't know, I'm not a physician, but you certainly don't want to sit there and suffer if there is something that you can do that will just make that go away. I mean, at 35, there's a lot you can do to just not have periods or regulate that shit. All right, let's try a new screen and see what the deal is. All right. Is the new law we're pushing for that will allow the right to repair here in New York prevent them from doing things in software to prevent swapping of parts like that? No, you can't prevent a company from from making their product however they're going to make it. You can't control, hey, you're not allowed to make the battery glued in there. Fuck you. No, you can't do that. All right, I still don't have any fucking image. I really didn't want to troubleshoot image. Boo. I got a flicker of image just a little bit ago, so it makes me feel like this is going to be janky connector, which sucks because the connector is right on the opposite side of the Wi-Fi chip, and I don't really want to mess with that. All right, let's see. What's up with this connector? Is there anything obvious that we can see? All right, I guess we could change. I guess that backlight filter looks kind of ratty. So maybe I should differentiate backlight from image before going nuts. I guess it could just be that filter has kind of gotten too ratty to work. Oh geez, there's all this work over here. All right, this is probably just a backlight problem then. So let's see. What I care about for this stream is, did we solve the temperature problem? I'm not sure I want to go down a backlight rabbit hole this late at night. All right, so let's see if we have image but just no backlight. All right, let's see. It's possible that something in that area got moved. All right, so let's try this again. And let's see. All right, TCR circuit, you are in high demand. OBs tend to know a lot about a womanly area. That's kind of their thing. Yes, it is. Anything with menthol can help nausea, like peppermint tea, or even cough drops. I eat them all the time for stomach issues, and they help. All right. Okay, so we do have image. I can see an Apple logo, which means I'll be able to see whether or not this thing still gets a temperature warning and whether or not it still gets hot. And then we'll figure out what's up with backlight and see what happens if we try to reball this chip. So now this phone's got a backlight problem to solve, which I can tell it's had some work on backlight before. Alrighty. Everybody is poor Amy's doctor. I bet she regrets asking about all of this now, but maybe not. Sounds like you are suffering and you need to get out of pain, but definitely go to the doctor. I know when my mom had ovarian cancer, that nausea was a symptom of that, and it was awful, and it was really, really hard for her to live with that. Speaking of moms, this is a sad, sad day. Sad day for iPad rehab. So everyone knows Sunday, the business manager here, delightful, lovely Sunday that everybody loves. Sunday lost her mother this morning, and that's just the saddest thing. And it's been hard to really think about anything else all day today. So she lost her mom, and she and her mom were very, very close, and lives kind of in the next neighborhood, and they are have a really close relationship. So her mom just didn't wake up this morning, probably had a heart attack, and that's just a sudden awful loss for Sunday. So we're it's hard to know, what do you do for someone that you're close to when they experience such a profound loss like that? Just overwhelming shock and grief. And it's hard to know whether or not what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? What should we do? What should her friends do? How do we kind of find a leader? And I talked to one friend that today was at the band concert and said, so what are we going to do for Sunday? Who's in charge? That's what I said. Who's in charge? And she looked at me and she said, Sunday's in charge. And that's the thing that's tough when somebody like Sunday, who is the organizer around here, and she's the one that keeps everybody on task and makes sure everything gets done, when that's the person who is experiencing loss and that you really want to help, she's your organizer. So it's sometimes hard to organize. So I thought I would, share her news with the YouTube family and the repair family. If you know Sunday, or if Sunday has helped you, or there's so many people that call that just really like how she holds their hand through their difficult data recovery and repair process. So if Sunday is important to you and you want to kind of give her a smile, then you are welcome to send some little token of love to Sunday here at iPad Rehab, and we will make sure that she gets that, whatever it might be. Oh, I had a flicker of backlight again. Flicker of backlight. All right, let's feel this and see if this is getting hot. It is not getting hot. Hooray! All right, so we're gonna pick this up. Yep, that is definitely not hot. So yay, we solved that problem. All right, let's see. Let's see if we can look at backlight at least to see if something is obvious before we go nuts. And then I think we'll try to reball this chip, stick it back on there. All right, that is so sad. Yes, it is so sad. It is so sad. All right, so let's look at that. It is really sad because we went just recently to it's the end of the year and all of the schools are doing their little end of the year play and stuff. And I just a couple days ago went to see a play, and Sunday was there with watching her kindergarten son bang the drums, and I was there watching my kindergarten daughters, and it was a fun little cute event. Let's just check on these diodes and stuff. Cute little event, and Sunday was there and her mother was there as well. All right, that looks like that cap might have slid over a little bit. Looks like that. This looks pretty seriously messy. How are we gonna I think that's still the native backlight driver because I still see all the underfill around there. So this looks like a drill out backlight repair, and that looks like it's touching that. I'd like to move this big cap over. All right, let's see if that big cap is short or anything. I'm in bad back pain. See the doctor at 10 a.m. I am in back pain as well. Astroman says, let them grieve, but try to keep her occupied. Time heals. It's never good losing a parent. No, it's not. All right, so that seems to not be shorted to ground. Let's see if we can move that. Celebrate her life. Don't mourn her loss. Sorry to hear that about Sunday's mother. I lost my mother 7 years ago. It sucks. Tell her to stay positive and keep her beautiful head up. Yeah, I lost my mother 15 years ago. And, that is a long time. And what was sad, this Mother's Day was kind of this moment just realizing that the memories that I have, they're so old and faded, but it's so profound. It's your mother. My mother was everything. She was amazing. And yet it was really sad for me on Mother's Day to just sort of realize that my memories of mom are kind of dated. And I feel like when I do remember something, it's an old memory that I've already remembered lots of times before. And for some reason I don't know if maybe that's just how grief works, but it just seemed like a really sad thing to realize that your memories of someone that was really profound in your life are kind of, they're not fresh anymore. And it's almost like at some point you're just sort of remembering the memory rather than the person. All right, I don't want to use hot air, but it's really kind of too difficult to get this on here with the iron. All right, we're just gonna see if that makes any difference. This is bullshit. Our lifespan is really short. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. She can come over here in Omaha. We got the place. My wife will be happy to help her out. Not even death can take away true love. All right. All right. I love her demeanor, and she's very informative. Why does that area look so crusty? All right. Oh, geez, your back pain is you're ready to check out? What's the problem? Do you have a what's going on with you? What does the MRI say? Do you have a herniated disc? Back pain really does suck. I've been going through that with the deadlifting injury that I got a few weeks ago. Sucks, and not getting better. So I am going to, every day I hear from Lewis that, you know, did you get an MRI? Did you get an MRI? Did you get an MRI? Which I'm supposed to do, and I promised I would do after this course. But yeah, it totally sucks. Hey, look at that. I got my backlight back. Yay! With that janky ass job. All right, so yay, we have backlight again. So we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna have to touch that up if this ends up being a working phone. But for now, we'll see. Tell Sunday that Glenn from Eye Doctor sends my sincerest condolences. I will do that, Glenn. All right, so this is. Let's get this guy's passcode. And now let's really hang out and check to see if it gets that temperature warning or not. All right, and we'll feel it to see if it's getting hot. Does not feel hot, so we'll see. We'll let it hang out for a second. All right. Let's see. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, Paul. That really stinks. Back pain. I have back pain right now, and it sucks. That's for sure. Something you're expecting but need managed or out of the blue. All right. Losing a loved one sucks. Lost my brother, dad, and mom. I feel so alone without having any family members here. I can understand that. Sometimes you know, I can remember when I moved to Rochester and I didn't know anybody, and my family was all in Maryland. And after my mother died, it was kind of, you know, moms are the glue of the family. They really are. And I'm close with my sister and dad, but I don't see them very often, a few times a year. And it was tough when it seemed like everyone around me, every holiday, every Mother's Day, was a big to-do where everybody seemed to have family events going on, and it was very isolating. So I totally get that. And I remember moving to a neighborhood where we did make a lot of friends, and I remember thinking that you could sometimes choose your family. And there are people that even else friends that I feel close enough to that I kind of think of them in the same way that you would family. So go out there and make those close relationships. And, you know, at Thanksgiving, we've always made a point, and this was my mother's legacy, to seek in the community people that needed that connection, especially at Thanksgiving. And she would always invite, you know, the little old lady neighbor whose husband died that year, or the folks that their house burned down 2 weeks ago and they really didn't have any place to celebrate or anything to celebrate. And that was always a really kind of special thing that my mom always did that we've tried to kind of continue up here. As I'm just new here, your channel, and learning this, I'm sorry about your loss. This is not my loss. This is my business manager Sunday from the toilet phone that's one of everybody's favorite videos, watching Sunday bring over the phone that she dropped in a porta potty, and then she went down and got the giant kettle corn bags to use as gloves to fish her phone out of the depths of the porta potty and raise it up in triumph, and then brought it over to my house. Jessica, can you fix this? And then that was when I hired Sunday after she did that. All right. I lost my dad when I was 13 in 1997. That was hard. That is hard. That's a tough. Yeah, this is a depressing stream. I'm going to change the title to, bring some booze to stream. I think that's where things like Facebook and YouTube are going to seriously mess with our society's mental state in the years to come. What do you mean, mess with our mental state? I think Facebook and YouTube are great because they create relationships that you otherwise wouldn't have. All right, so the overheating problem is solved. This is no longer overheating. Yay. So let's see what happens if if we just try to throw this chip back on here, just kind of for fun. All right, so let's look at the chip itself. Since we did kind of clean up that area, it wouldn't really be too much more to just stick this chip back on here. All right, let's check out the chip. Let's see, how did the chip fare? All right, yeah, this makes sense. There's some little bridging right there. Chip itself looks pretty good. So let's just clean that sucker up. Now, I'm the world's worst at reballing, but every now and then I give it a shot, so you guys can have fun laughing at my lame reballing. Maybe you guys can give me some tips, you guys that reball all the time. I'm always a big fan of, eliminate variables, use new chips. So I rarely have to reball anything, which is why I still continue to suck at it. So we'll see what we can do here. All right, so we're going to leave that alone. And it's probably pretty good. Those look like pretty decent sized little puffy pillows right there. But let's give it some balls. So let's see what we can do. So Facebook and YouTube, I think, have created more relationships, at least in my life. Everyone who has a living parent must now go hug them ASAP. Yes, that was the thing with the play. The play that I saw the other day. I'm there watching my kids. Sunday's there, and we're kind of making fun of the whole thing. I mean, this play was pretty ridiculous. I think I probably even talked about it on stream that day, where this play was, again, idiot women. I can't stand idiot women. The kindergarten teachers couldn't figure out how to manage the projector, so they wanted to do a slideshow at the end of this play of the kids as babies versus now. Cute idea. But they didn't know how to switch inputs or turn the thing off and on. So they just left the projector on the entire time. So the entire front row of kids for the entire play had press any key for display on the t-shirts of the kids in the front row. And they're all blinded, and you can read it right there. And it was like, stop, this is ridiculous. Just figure out your projector. And then they were dumb enough to try and, instead of download the little accompanying music that the kids were supposed to sing and dance to, they were trying to stream it. And it was like buffering. So the kids are just stuck in the middle of this thing. So it was so incredibly low rent. And the whole time you're just like, oh my God. And I remember watching it with Sunday, and I remember looking over and seeing Sunday was there with her mom, as would be incredibly natural. And I can remember Sunday, my phone gets a message during this play, and it was a message to iPad Rehab Team Chat that said, remind me to go talk to, Genius Repair tomorrow about blah, blah, blah. And it was the message that Sunday had sent. And I was like, what the fuck? hello, we're like watching this. Stop thinking about iPad rehab stuff. And and then I replied, instead of watching it, I said, so what was it that made you think that? Was it the kid with the monkey hat? Or, you're clearly not paying attention. And then it just kind of became really sad, like today, to kind of think, man, if you knew that was the last time that you would have one of these sort of, special family moments, this little run-of-the-mill, ordinary, end-of-the-year kid play to go to with the whole family, and then everybody goes to Dipper Dan's for ice cream afterwards. If you knew, that is like way too juicy. Whoa, that was loud. Hey, we got a donation. Awesome. Sean McNamara, I love my mom, and I'm sure your kids love you. Value and treasure your parents, folks. Strive to be happy. Life's too short to be sad. Yes, it is. I totally agree with that. Thank you for that, Sean. So, yeah, man, if you just kind of knew, that's the last time you're ever gonna have one of those, moments. Then sitting there texting iPad rehab reminders is not how you'd want to be spending it. So, I think whenever these things happen, it is definitely a reminder to everybody to focus on what is important. Like getting this chip lined up, that's pretty important right now. All right, let's get this kind of try again here. Not super happy with the alignment there on that one side. Let's see if we can edit that a little bit. And by edit, I mean try again entirely. All right, let's see. There you go, Chip. Lay down, be good. You're all right. You're gonna be fine. This isn't gonna hurt. I promise. All right, so let's get this lined up a little bit better if we can. All right, let's see. So this goes like that. All right, that's better. That is definitely better. All right, it's still pretty inappropriately juicy in there. I'll try to mash that down a little bit. Okay, we're gonna go with that. Let's see if we can straighten that up a little bit. Okay, so let's scroll down here. Watching a somber stream while my neighbors are yelling about the W. All right. Warriors is weird. Sometimes I wish I lived in the States. How much is the stencil, or should I do each pad at one time? I would not do each pad at one time. I have learned to never do that. These stencils are reasonable. It's another thing that we kind of intend to put in the iPad rehab supply store, but I don't think we have done that yet. All right, so we'll put on some goop. Now, if I had some glass, which I got some glass the other day from the most unlikely source. I actually ordered chips from Lewis from his new chip store. I would like to support him and Jason, so I will also be continuing to order from microscopesupply.com because they're both good buddies. So I ordered these chips, and these Backlight drivers came, and they were packaged in between two old glass-only Samsung screens. I have no idea why he would even have these. So he's trying to do practical packaging. I thought that was pretty fun. All right, so let's kind of get rid of the excess there. And let's see what happens. I'd like to put a piece of glass over this, but I'm not going to. We're gonna just roll with it here. All right, so let's kind of make it a little less blustery than it normally is. Okay. All right. Was that a bunch of solder on the left? Not sure. Alright. Working holidays. Alright. 5,000 volt fly swatters. Okay, so let's give it this a little bit of pressure in here. Yeah, I think I went too far in the opposite direction and it is nowhere near fluxy enough. Yeah, that might be the worst ever. I probably should have gotten some glass. Alright, well let's see what we have to do to edit that. Let's see what we have to do to edit this. Let's get that to pop off. What's keeping you on here, bro? This guy? Alright, let's take a look. Let's see how bad, if this is super bad or what. Alright, so this one is actually a pretty forgiving one. It's kind of worth starting over, but maybe not. Alright, what does the glass do? Well, the glass is going to make what happened there not happen. That's the benefit of it. And I'm really bummed that I didn't actually Lewis shipped that stuff to my house, which is annoying, instead of here to work. So I have those pieces of glass I was gonna use at home, which sucks. My other piece of glass is just way too burnt out. Alright, let's kind of mow down some of these tall ones. I don't really think I think these are pretty much all ground. So let's just kind of edit this a little bit. We'll just edit a little bit. Edit, edit, edit. Fine. Alright, let's just refill that. So I want to know, all you people that are quick users, who has had one the longest? That's always my question, is what's the long-term prognosis for the old quick that everybody kind of likes? Everybody that has one likes it, for the most part. But how are they holding up? How are they holding up long-term? That's what I want. Right, let's clean this off. Any NCs on that? I see. Yeah, I think there's a lot of NCs on this IC. A lot of NCs on this IC. Let me get a fresh fuse up. It's not garbled. Why didn't it reball correctly? Well, because it didn't have quite enough flux, and the stencil just came away. So I was trying to put pressure on it, but it wasn't really even pressure. It wasn't even pressure enough. You saw it fall, like it just fell out. But this chip really doesn't matter. I mean, it would have probably been fine if I didn't even reball it at all. So we're gonna go with that. We're not really in any danger here. Okay. If this were not a free repair, if this was like a real repair, then I would care about it. But I'm not really that keen on this to begin with, because I think that the likelihood that this chip itself works is incredibly low. So I'm just gonna stick it on here, just kind of for fun, really. And we'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe we'll get lucky, but our goal has already been met, which was just to make this phone boot without having a heat problem, which it does. So we're good to go. So let's see, we're gonna look at this. Let's look again at our relaxingly zen scraped off underfill. All that looks fine. And we'll put down a layer of flux and we'll stick this back on here and see what happens. So let's put down some nice juicy Chip Quick 291. Yes. I'm sure that reball would have gone perfect if I had used Chip Quick instead of reaching for the Amtech like an idiot. Oh well, live and learn, huh? All right. So we're gonna throw some flux on there and we're gonna put something on here. Hey, I hear a donation again. All right. Let's see. Oh, Paul Daniel says he's had his for a year. Oh, that says donated $5 from fantastic Mr. I can't read that. How come I can't read that at all? Maybe I can read it when it comes up over here on YouTube. Thanks for the $5. I want to read your message, but I don't know if I can. Let's see. Does it show up on here? Let's see if it does. Let's see. Does it? I go back a second. Maybe it does. All right. Is that the correct orientation? Yeah, man, I'm not a noob. I got my orientation correct. That's my correct orientation. All right, so I do kind of take advantage of the marks from the scraping of the underfill to begin with. So you can see these marks along the edge. They kind of really help with the alignment. The alignment doesn't really matter that much. It will find its own way. So we'll go ahead and stick this down. All right, here we go. Bought my Quick 4 months ago after the circuit board and the Hako failed. Nice, I just got a call from someone I banned. You got some people that like fucking with you, dude. You got people fucking with you because they have learned that you are able to be fucked with. So if you're having fun, have at it. If you don't want to be fucked with, then don't answer. Alright, let's get this cranked up and try to get this chip on here. Let's make it so you guys can see. Dance, motherfucker, dance! Alrighty. There he goes. Good little chip. Good little chip. Make sure you're nice and in your spot. Okay, we're going to give you a little poke just to make sure. I don't really like how you're responding to my poke. Alright, that's good. Alright, here we go. Alright, so we're gonna let that cool down. Alright, who's the they are mods? I was going to ban him. The one with a large dick. What? So what are those blue wrench people here? Oh, yes. Mods. All right. What else? It was Joe. Joe from Band Channel. All right. Well, please, on the $300 for Sunday. What? All right, the one with the large dick. What? What is going on here? All right, so we're gonna let this cool down. Do you use more heat to place the chip than reball? Yes. For reballing, like actually making the balls, you need to kind of have less heat, and because you don't want the vigorous air popping, you don't want the boiling flux. You want this to be a gentle reball, as opposed to what it takes to get a chip to dance and find its own spot. It's just turning into Lewis talking to chips and using mofo. I have always used mofo. Lewis starts saying some of the stuff I say. Lewis, by the way, has really changed his vocabulary a lot. How many times does he say douchebag anymore? Like never. And what else did he used to say all the time? GTFO. I sold a GTFO. He said he used to say that constantly. He doesn't say that anymore either. All right, let's see. My message was, yay, there needs to be more channels out there. There are countless people reviewing tech, but hardly anyone out there showing what it is actually like to repair. Well, thank you for that. I remember your $5, and we appreciate that, and love to help people see how it works, and that anybody can do this. This is just about using your brain and being a logical person that kind of uses common sense. So this is not, rocket science. We're not building space shuttles. We're just making phones work again, and any mom can do it in her kitchen table if she has enough motivation and if she's just got an analytical mind. Maybe not the one that thought that we were charging up her charge port earlier, but other than that. All right, next she'll go mother F. I say that a lot as well. And it's funny how people do change, like some of the previous folks that come to the course are shocked that I used to, for some reason, constantly tell course people to suck my dick. Whatever, you can suck my dick, but I don't have any idea why I ever started saying that, and I kind of stopped saying that. I have no idea. All right. Let's see. I think Jessa was the one who leads in cussing over Lewis. Definitely, for sure. All right. iPad Rehab has got dicks on her mind. It's my truck. My truck is a big, black, giant, enormous piece of metal, but every time you look at it, it just feels like a massive dick. It's like the only person that would buy a truck like this is just buying it because it seems like a massive black dick. That's the only reason. That's why 100% of them sell. I don't really want to own a vehicle that just can't help but think, geez, giant dick, every time you get in it. Wow, that surprises me, and I'm a long-time listener of both. Oh yeah, totally. I think he takes his lead from her. Ha! He doesn't say smooth brain. I don't say smooth brain at all. That's totally all him. That is. He still says smooth brain. He's been on some rants. He's on a rant about Puerto Rico right now. I know that. He's been on a lot of rants lately. Okay, let's see. Let's look back and see if that cap got knocked off again. Oh yeah, it looks as shitty as ever. Can you believe that fucking backlight circuit works? See, this is what I mean about practical. This is what I have to say for people that put back C5202 cap. Like that the purists. When this fucking shit, this right here, when this is a working backlight circuit, when it looks like that is working. This shit here works. It works, and it's going to continue to work for the entire lifespan of this device. Let's say this device, assuming it still boots. But if it does, then let's say this device is going to last, 3 years. That backlight circuit will continue to work for 3 years. You're not going to see this come back. We should all send her dildos. You should probably change your dildo into flowers for Sunday or Tito's. Sunday loves Tito's. Cheer up Sunday with flowers or Tito's instead of sending giant dildos here. All right, let's see. Let's see what happens now. Let's see if this phone still boots. And let's see if that chip is cooled down. All right. Now let's see if it boots. Let's see if it still boots. I'm just happy to have gotten rid of the temperature warning. I'll be bummed out now if it doesn't boot, but at least we know that we'll be able to take the chip back off and they'll still be able to get anything they want off of this thing. Alrighty. So let's see. Good old putting the world to rights. Old man in young man's body. Who, Lewis? Kind of. He is kind of an old soul, that's for sure. Alright. Ultrasonic that. Oh yes, this will definitely get ultrasonicked in the end. If it works. Yay, I still have a backlight. Hooray! Look at that. That backlight circuit works, baby. That's a hoot. All right, now let's see. Let's see if it still does not have the temperature warning and see if it doesn't get hot again. All right, let's see. For God's sake, don't try to cheer up Sunday with dildos. Yeah, don't try to cheer up Sunday with dildos. Sunday has enough dildos. I bought all the iPad rehab employees business dildos. Alright, so let's see if it gets hot and turns off again or not. Yeah, it seems kind of hot. Seems hot, but let's see if it actually gets bothered by heat. Seems kind of hot. Seems hot back there. Seems hot. Wi-Fi is working. Look at that. That surprises me. Boo! Temperature warning, temperature warning. All right, so that to me means that the fault was internal to the chip to begin with, which makes sense. So I actually think it's pretty cool that we were able to reball that chip and have Wi-Fi still working. That was pretty cool. If I probably should do some more research to see whether or not the iPhone 6s Wi-Fi chip is just interchangeable. But for now, we're just going to take this one off because what they really want is to not have the temperature warning. So that's pretty clearly coming from the Wi-Fi chip, not from the balls under the Wi-Fi chip. So now we know that this was internal damage to the Wi-Fi chip, which makes sense. It didn't seem to really have any strong indicators that there was a bunch of bridging and shit. There was no like solder balls popping out of it to begin with. So all right, back off it comes. Back off it comes. So we're gonna take this off. I'm gonna stick it back in my beautiful board holder. And they're not gonna be able to have Wi-Fi. So close to having Wi-Fi again. I'm pretty happy with the fact that that Wi-Fi was not grayed out. All right, so let's get this back in the board holder. Alrighty. Okay, here we go. Business dildos don't have RGB lighting, but they have a spill-proof keyboard. Alright, yeah, my chip was getting hot too. I saw one on Amazon. Well, seeing a 6S Wi-Fi chip for sale on Amazon means nothing. That would be the last place to go for information on whether or not you can just swap out a 6S Wi-Fi chip. All right. Beautiful. I love that little like pancake lifter. All right, so let's get rid of that. Yeah, I don't see nothing was bridged here or fucked up. Nothing looks like it would cause any kind of shorts. All that looks fine. Fine and dandy. Chip itself doesn't have any pulled or abraded, pads or anything. Okay. So let's see whether or not, let's just make sure that it's not getting hot without that chip on there, which is really our endpoint, just to make this thing turn on and work for long enough to get data off of it. Alrighty. I got here late. Did the power to it was okay? We didn't bother to check. We just thought, hey, chip's getting hot, and I had one earlier that was the same. So I think that Wi-Fi, hot Wi-Fi faults are within the chip or under the chip in the 6S. Power to Wi-Fi is a pretty simple thing. Alrighty. And power to Wi-Fi would still be short even if the chip wasn't there. So it's, it would have to be internal to the chip or under the chip. I don't really think there's any capacitor that just goes there. Alright, 18. Okay, so let's see if this is getting hot. All right, so let's just hang out and see if it gets a temperature warning or not. Can't change the Wi-Fi IC on the 6S or up without reprogramming the NAND. Yes. Wait, that was Chris Long. Isn't that what we've been saying this whole time? Is that actually true? You are sure that is true? You verified that? I've never tried. That's why I've heard that, but I don't know for sure. That's just what I've heard. Have you ever accidentally damaged the USB port on your computer plugging in random broken iPhones? Nope. I'll watch the rest of this tomorrow. Time to recharge my battery. Yeah, we're pretty much done. Because this looks like it doesn't have the temperature error, which is problem solved. And we did take the step of reballing the Wi-Fi IC, which was super nice of us to do. Put it back on. It actually worked. We got Wi-Fi, but then it went back to that temperature warning, which tells us that it's internal to the chip is the problem that's causing this particular phone to get a temperature over. It's not just a temperature problem, it is actually overheating, so it's actually getting hot on that chip. So there is an internal to the Wi-Fi chip problem here on the 6S, which is not easy to replace because we would have to program the NAND to match the address of the chip, and I don't even have a programmer for the 6S NAND. So that is definitely beyond the scope of this repair. So we tried and we're able to confirm that this is a bad chip and we can't get another one. So our endpoint on this was just to solve the problem of this phone overheating so that they could, it should still get service. They could use it as a phone if they wanted to put it on a data plan. But they will be able to get their data off of here and it will stay on, and they could plug it into iTunes, download music, use it as an iPod, download games that don't need Wi-Fi, give it to a kid, and have some use out of this. All right, so let's see. What's Chris Long? No. What's up with that? Wi-Fi. Mac problem there. Yes. Apparently the chips are keyed to the board. Yes. Curious about how many iPhone 7 Pluses come in with faults on the touch IC and or overheating. 2 replacements. Oh, I want to hear about that. You had a 7 Plus with touch IC? Because that's a little odd. Touch IC is now no longer on the board. It's on the screen. So that kind of doesn't make sense. All right, so this thing is no longer overheating, so we are good to go on that. And I'm gonna look to see if there's anything else I really missed in here. Do you have a donor board? Can you attempt to scavenge a Wi-Fi chip from it? I could, but I'm sure this is well established with people that we don't generally take Wi-Fi jobs, so we don't have a lot of experience with that. But I would think that this would be well known in the community of board repair. So before doing an investigation of reballing a chip and seeing if it would work, and then I don't know, is it because that chip was bad? I don't know if that particular version doesn't match this board because that's a Sprint phone, this is a Verizon. There's so many variables that what I would do I would do research, which is a community of people that do this. Let's read all of your forum posts, all of your blog posts, read voraciously anything that anyone has ever written on the subject of Wi-Fi in the 6S, and I'm pretty sure that that's going to lead to a path of finding someone who can substantiate this idea that the 6S Wi-Fi is married to the NAND, and you have to program the NAND to accept that Wi-Fi, that the Wi-Fi has an address that the NAND needs to know. So I would do that before doing an experiment on that. All right, let's see. Did it have corrosion on the chip? Nope, it's not water damage. No corrosion. All right. It was not water damage, exactly. Every employee gets a free rehab dildo. Yes. It's for work-life balance. All right. Okay, so I think that we are pretty much at the end of I see this as a big issue. The Wi-Fi, yes, sucks. But I mean, I also saw Wyman's video about it as well, which is part of how that got into my my memory of, I'm pretty sure 6S Wi-Fi can't be changed, but I don't know that for sure. But my guess is that since you can readily reprogram NAND for lots of models, that actually that you could likely be able to buy from China a Wi-Fi chip that has information that comes with it, so that you could also reprogram NAND to match it. Pain in the ass, total pain in the ass, but probably a solvable problem if you're into that. All same signs of touch disease were present, same symptoms as found in a 6S Plus. 6S Plus doesn't really get touch disease either. The second was due to excessive overheating. Would have loved to have done a teardown. So overheating is something more like this. Like, I'd be more interested in overheating. 6 Plus gets a very classic touch disease, meaning gray flickering bars, that it's pretty clear is due to a very, very specific defect at one pad under one chip that has a poor connection to the rest of its trace in the board. And that's pretty well established after 2 years of looking at many cases by many people. That has sort of bubbled up to the top. The 6S Plus will sometimes have a touch problem, but that is almost always just pry damage at the connector. Because Apple did a smart thing and moved those touch ICs from the springy board and moved them to the screen. So now every time you get a new screen, you get new touch ICs because they're part of they're part of the screen itself. So in the 7, I'm pretty sure that continues to be the case, that the touch ICs are not on the board, but they're on the screen itself. So it's it would be really difficult, other than having a bad screen, to have actual bona fide touch disease. You could have a bad screen for sure. So a screen swap should solve that problem. All right, is this no fix, no fee? No, this is fix, no fee. All right, let's see. By Chris meant the big issue with the iPhone 7 being fragile to drops. Oh, that. Yes. Yeah, I am, interested to see about that as well. And I've thought about that. Like we've I don't know if this is true for everybody, and you never really have a sense of what's going on in your business versus everybody else. But we've definitely noticed a lack of iPhone 7 jobs coming in that is to replace some of the older repairs that kind of no longer make sense. So we've definitely noticed that. This time in the life cycle of the iPhone 6s, there was a pretty steady volume of 6s water damage and 6s backlight that was coming in. So 6s sort of had its classic problems. We see a lot of 6s's to this day. iPhone 6 has a shit ton of things wrong with it, and we still see a lot of iPhone 6s. But we are definitely noticing kind of an overall decrease in volume as iPhone 7 is a robust phone. Eventually, over time, though, as they begin to have screen swaps done not by Apple and more wear and tear, we'll start to see, I've seen a few TriStar failures in the 7 Plus. I've also seen just shit fall off the board from a drop. It used to be you'd only see them if they have been like crunched in a car, but now we're starting to see some drop damage to 7. I saw one long screw damage to iPhone 7. So I think as it ages, I think it is a better phone. It's a more robust phone, which is great. But I don't think it's immune to problems. All right, you need sleep. I guess so. That's right. All right. Whoa, somebody's phone number. Little Dick isn't as scary. Little Black Dick Joe. What? Is that the troll from TCRS Circuits channel? That's pretty funny. A tooling fault for the pub or a general delimitation problem from heat in that area. Tooling fault. Maybe. All right. Always good idea to save the Wi-Fi chip serial number. I guess so. All right. 6 and 6S were very durable from getting ran over by cars. All right. iPhone 7. Jessa, you're losing weight so fast. Oh my goodness. I go to the gym a lot. All right. Okay. It is 12:21, and this is as fixed as we agreed to fix it, and we are at the end of the line with it. So Wi-Fi chip is off, data is available, and we've confirmed that the Wi-Fi chip has an internal fault. So that is all we can do. I consider that a success. So I am happy with that. I will tape the bad chip on it and send it on its way, and I will see you guys next time.